Tomorrow is a WRAL weather alert day. Early in the morning, we can see strong thunderstorms. I'll show you the timeline.
And less money for schools. Today, Wake County is considering changing the requirements for high schools to receive Title I funds, the schools that would lose the federal money under their plan. Also preparing the ice. The Carolina Hurricanes will face off against the Panthers tonight at the Lenovo Center. Everything you need to know about the Eastern Conference Final ahead of puck drop. A lot of excited Caniacs are going to fill the Lenovo Center later on tonight. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey on this WRAL Weather Alert Day. Let's get right over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. We issued this about 7 o'clock this morning, Elizabeth.
Yeah, we're looking at some strong thunderstorms developing late tonight into early tomorrow morning. It is likely to affect your morning commute tomorrow and may start while you're sleeping. So just make sure that you can get that weather information and then turn on the TV if those storms roll into your area. Damaging winds, large hail, a low tornado threat is what we'll likely see out of the system. But for now, everything is quiet for us. Now, the storm system does have a history of producing severe storms. Right now, as it's crossing the Mississippi Valley, a lot of lightning, but the severe thunderstorm warnings have expired, at least for now. They'll likely get cranked up. There's a level 3 risk for parts of the country for today. For us, we roll through time and take a look at Futurecast, kicking things off at about 9 or 10 o'clock this evening. You can see by 10 or 11 some thunderstorms developing, and those are maybe near the Virginia line at around 3 a.m. And then we see another wave that comes through a bit later in the morning during the morning commute, and that could produce some wind damage and make for a real messy start to the day tomorrow. Right now it's breezy in Wilson. The whirligig's spinning around. Winds are gusting at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. 66 degrees is our current temperature heading out. So it feels really nice out there. Hour by hour, our temperatures this afternoon are likely to be in the low 80s. So it won't be too bad today. It's just tonight, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, congestion really building on some of our major routes, including down here on I-40 westbound coming in out of Clayton, Johnston County. Keep an eye on that and let you know what's going on. Of course, the Beltline. We just had a couple of incidents, crashes right there on the westbound lanes of the Beltline. Still going on, causing some major delays in that particular area. Let's go outside and show you what we're talking about. And really and truly, we've got Raleigh police working the crash on the shoulder of the road. So traffic is beginning to get through. So this is usual, the part of the usual morning congestion. To the east of Raleigh, this is what happens this time of the morning coming in out of Nightdale this morning. We're looking at some of the major routes coming into the capital city. Here's what the delay times are looking like right now. It's a situation where you probably want to give yourself some little extra time coming in, because right now you're looking at a 9-minute delay if you're coming in from Nightdale. That slowdown that we've been watching on I-40 westbound coming out of Garden in Johnston County, it's an 8-minute delay. 12 minutes for Finns and Wake Forest coming into the capital city. Over in Durham, there are very little to no delays coming into the Bull City this morning. Nothing that's going to make you late. I do want to isolate I-885 because we're seeing quite a bit of slowdown there. In and out of Durham this morning, you're heading into Durham, you're looking at a 9-minute delay. If you're using I-885 to get to I-40 this morning, you're looking at an 11-minute delay. You're getting ready to head into the car. We've got you covered. News, weather, and traffic, 101.5 HD3.
Thanks, Ken. New this morning, several people were hurt in 2 crashes in Johnston County. The WRAL breaking news tracker was at this scene on Big Pine Road around midnight. Several people were taken to the hospital, including 2 children. State Highway Patrol says a driver failed to yield at the intersection with Barber Mill Road, causing the first crash. Then a 3rd car crashed when the driver says they did not see the first crash on the dark road. Troopers say charges are expected. And breaking news just after midnight, Zebulon fire crews responded to a garage fire. This happened in a neighborhood on Lacewing Drive, just off of Highway 96. Video from the WRAL breaking news tracker shows a charred workbench inside. Police say no one was hurt. The fire did not spread to nearby homes. We are working to learn the cause of the fire and the extent of the damage. Under a new plan, some Wake County high schools would receive less funding. Today, the school system is considering changing the rules for who gets federal Title I funds. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is at the Wake County School headquarters this morning. And Kelsey, 6 schools would be dropped from the program under these new requirements.
Yes, Michelle, and we're pressing Wake school leaders for answers this morning. A committee will meet here inside the school headquarters later today to consider cuts to Title I funding. 6 high schools would be affected by this: East Wake, Nightdale, Phillips, South Garner, Southeast Raleigh, and SCORE Academy. Title I is a federal program that offers extra support for schools that serve more lower-income students. Here are some of the questions we've asked the district. Why are they considering this change? What would be the potential impact? And how are these schools using Title I funding right now? We're planning to get those answers at today's meeting. The district wants to require 75% of a high school student body to meet Title I requirements. That's up from the 50% requirement that stands right now. WRAL education insider Emily Walkenhorst explains how some schools wouldn't make the cut.
They wouldn't have enough students meeting federal poverty thresholds. So that means they have Medicaid or temporary assistance for needy families. Wake County wants to increase the percentage of students you have to meet to qualify for that at the high school level.
You can follow our coverage on this today on WRAL.com. Just look at the education section. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Cary.
And Wake School's new cell phone policy is up for a vote tonight. Under the policy, cell phones must be silenced and put away, and smartwatches must be put in airplane mode. There would be some exceptions, such as during an emergency. Cell phones could be confiscated in some cases until a parent picks it up after school. A lot of how the policy is carried out will still be up to principals. The policy needs to be voted on twice, and the board could choose to do both tonight. You can follow our coverage at the education section of WRAL.com. Happening today, closing arguments begin in the trial of a man accused of killing a Home Depot employee in Hillsborough. Terry McMillian of Durham is accused of pushing 82-year-old Gary Racer to the ground at the Home Depot in October of 2022. Police say McMillian was stealing a pressure washer. Racer broke several bones in the fall and died a month later because of complications from his injuries. Police charged McMillian with first-degree murder and robbery. A massive fire raced through this home near Garner. Sky 5 captured the magnitude of the destruction in the Eagle Ridge Golf community yesterday. Smoke spread to nearby homes and spilled over into communities as far as Cary. Volunteers with the American Red Cross are helping the 3 people who live there. And at 9:30 this morning, state employees could learn how much more they'll soon be paying for health insurance. Leaders of the state health plan go to meet this morning. They'll go over details of new pricing options for the state health plan, which serves 750,000 state employees, retirees, and their families here in North Carolina. Starting next year, the state is expected to start charging some employees more than others for health care, depending on how much they earn. Stay tuned with WRAL today as we expect to learn more about these new costs for state workers and their families. Watch our evening newscast from 4 to 7:30 tonight. Also in Durham County, people will gather today in support of expanding HEART. HEART is a program in the city of Durham that sends unarmed crisis responders to some emergency calls. The group will bring their concerns and a petition to today's Sheriff Town Hall meeting. It'll be held at the Ruritan Club in Bahama at 7 o'clock. This evening. And big changes could be coming to the area around Moore Square in Raleigh. A work session this morning at 11:30 will go over the area's redevelopment plan before City Council holds its regular meeting this afternoon at 1 p.m. Loden Development plans to build stores, a boutique hotel, and several units of affordable housing. Concerns over the project's budget are a main issue for the city and developer. Raleigh's city manager will present this budget during the regular meeting this afternoon. The Canes will play Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight here in Raleigh at the Lenovo Center. They'll take on the Florida Panthers, and WRAL's Laura Levine is inside the Lenovo Center right now ahead of tonight's big game. Center ice, Laura. We are counting down until puck drop at 8 o'clock tonight.
The Lenovo Center, Michelle, will be the loudest house in an NHL tonight, and that's because a hurricane is brewing for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference playoffs here for the Stanley Cups. Now, we know the Hurricanes, well, they're ready. We're taking a look at a video now of the team practicing back at home here. They've reached the Eastern Conference final of the Stanley Cup playoffs for the second time in 3 seasons. The Hurricanes will face the Florida Panthers, who defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs 6-1 in Game 7 of their second-round series on Sunday. For 7 seasons, Coach Rod Brindamore has preached a game based on paying really close attention to the finer details in their plays. He says that's what sets them apart. Brindamore shares how he's keeping the team motivated during this close run.
They've had a lot of, almost, and I think the to them to just constantly believe in what we're doing and keep pushing. I mean, that's the whole key, and that's all you can do.
That's the name of the game. So puck drops here at 8 o'clock tonight on center ice. And then game 2 will take place here as well on Thursday. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And covering Fayetteville, today you are invited to attend a panel discussion about supporting veterans and military families. Cardinal and Pine is hosting the event. Veterans, advocates, and policy experts plan to talk about several issues, including the impact of the Trump administration's cost-cutting efforts on the VA. The panel will be held in Studio 215 in Fayetteville and get started at 5 o'clock this evening. Time now is 8:10. Congresswoman arrested. New Jersey Representative LaMonica McIver is facing assault charges. The incident at an ICE protest that led to those charges. Plus, tornadoes in Oklahoma. Severe weather hit the state, bringing high winds and more. Just ahead, the moment lightning struck this police car.
And that storm arrives here very early tomorrow morning. It won't be quite as severe as that, but we do have a level 1 risk for severe storms. I'll show you what that means coming up. And then the timeline, which will be very early tomorrow morning on Futurecast in just a few minutes.
Deborah and I came up through the ranks together at WRAL, and it's been such a privilege and an honor to be her colleague and also to be her friend. I can't wait to see what the next chapter holds. She is going to be missed.
Deborah, from being a little Steven emailing you asking for your advice on my stories to eventually becoming a coworker of yours behind the scenes, the integrity and dedication you've shown in every story that you've told in your career has motivated me and shaped me into the journalist that I am today. You're going to be sorely missed behind the anchor desk, but I can't wait to hear of all the adventures you and Scott get to go on now. Best of luck to you.
8:15, taking a live look at Chapel Hill right now, looking absolutely beautiful. Currently, we will see an increase in our cloud cover as we get through the afternoon as our next system approaches. So we do have the potential for some isolated wind damage. That's going to be overnight tonight as we see that chance of rain moving on up into our area. So town by town, our temperatures right now are mainly in the low to mid 60s, a little bit warmer in Fayetteville, 68, and then 68 degrees in Goldsboro. Lunchtime outside should be really pretty. It's a nice morning out there, 75 at lunchtime, but of course, late tonight, early tomorrow, that's when we get into our chance for thunderstorms. Around 3 to 4 a.m., we may have some cells that could produce some severe weather, and that's going to linger into the morning commute. Coming up in just a few minutes, I'll show you the timeline on Futurecast. In the meantime, Ask the Meteorologist Chris Michaels is coming up with our own WRAL tropical forecast. We'll show you what we've done to come up with what you may see for the season, which starts very soon.
I can't believe it's so close already, happening now. All new into the WRAL Traffic Center. We just got reports of Raleigh police working this crash on Glenwood and Creedmoor Road. That's the Crabtree Valley Mall right there, which tends to be a rather busy intersection. But right now, we're not seeing any particular delays in that area, but we'll keep an eye on it, let you know exactly what you can expect heading out. In terms of major routes coming into the capital city, you're looking at a 7-minute delay because we're seeing some slowdowns there on I-87 coming in out of Nightdale. You're coming in from Wake Forest this morning, you're just looking at a 9-minute delay. We've been noticing this congestion down there in the Garner, Johnston County area, I-40 westbound coming in from Highway 42. You're looking at a 7-minute delay. So things are moving along as we speak, but I'll keep an eye on it. If you're listening to us on the radio, we hope we're keeping you informed. We appreciate that. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3. We'll keep you updated.
Thanks, Ken. Democratic Representative LaMonica McIver is facing a federal assault charge. The charge comes after an incident in her home state of New Jersey. The Department of Homeland Security claims McIver body slammed an ICE official during a protest outside their facility. She denies that claim, saying she doesn't even know how to body slam a person. In response to the charges against her, McIver says they are purely political and meant to deter legislative oversight.
The EU and Britain have just announced sanctions against Russia. Brand new today. Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center. And this is without waiting for the U.S. To join in with any of those types of sanctions. A day after President Donald Trump spoke with Vladimir Putin about a ceasefire in Ukraine. And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that they're working with their partners to put pressure on the Russians to behave differently in an apparent reference to further international sanctions on Russia. So the EU and Britain say that their new measures would zero in on Moscow's shadow fleet of oil tankers and financial companies that have helped it to avoid the impact of other sanctions by other countries already imposed by the war.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Severe weather hits Oklahoma, bringing intense winds and storms. Look at this video. This is video of those powerful winds. You can see the RVs wobbling as they're nearly forced over by the wind. At least 2 tornadoes were confirmed in that state. The storms left damage and thousands of power outages. And in Newcastle, Oklahoma, lightning struck a police car. Newcastle Emergency Management posted this video showing the moment that lightning bolt struck the parked car. Fortunately, nobody was inside the car at the time and nobody was hurt. But wow. Well, WRAL's Atlantic hurricane forecast airs at 6 p.m. tonight. Meteorologist Chris Michaels shows us some of the things the teams have been analyzing ahead of tonight's forecast, Chris.
A lot of it has to do with ocean temperatures, not just in the Atlantic, but in the Pacific. You guys hear this a lot. El Nino, La Nina. Well, what is it? El Nino, that refers to warmer waters off the coast of Peru, which actually alternates or alters the winds above us. That makes them stronger. That actually helps to choke off hurricanes. So you actually root for El Nino. La Nina is the complete opposite, where the wind then above us is lighter due to cooler waters off the coast of Peru, and that favors more hurricanes in the Atlantic. And then you have a neutral phase, which is just sort of average, right? We also obviously keep an eye on the Atlantic waters, main development region off the west coast of Africa, heading toward the Caribbean right now, featuring cooler than average water temperatures. But there's so much more that we're analyzing 12 days ahead of the official start of hurricane season. As Michelle was saying, that forecast coming your way at 6 p.m. on WRAL.
All right, thank you so much, Chris. And let's get over now to another meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, talking about this WRAL weather alert day. Some people might be saying, what weather alert day? It's sunny outside.
I know, right? It's for tomorrow morning. So we'll notice later this afternoon, it will get cloudy and we may even see a few thunderstorms closer to midnight. The big problem with this is a lot of the storms may start to develop as people are sleeping. So make sure that you've downloaded your WRAL app, turn on the alerts to let you know if severe storms are coming through. And then if they do, turn on the TV. We'll be here all night tracking these storms, starting as early as 11 and lasting through 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. Damaging winds, large hail, even a small tornado threat possible with these storms. We jump on out and take a look at what's happening right now because it is beautiful now. A little bit more cloud cover in Fayetteville, but nice and bright in Raleigh, as well as Apex and Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill's courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. We take a look at our wind speeds out there. It's been a bit breezy, breezier than it was yesterday. In some places, winds are around 8 to 10 miles per hour coming out of the north. And so it's been very comfortable again this morning. For today and tomorrow, we have a level 1 risk for severe storms, but the storms are not likely to start to develop until around or after midnight. So during the daylight hours today, it's not going to be an issue. Fortunately for people across parts of the west, this storm has died down, weakened a little bit, but as it continues to move eastward, it is likely to cause more severe storms. Look at this huge area with a level 3 risk. That's for a lot of Kentucky, most of Tennessee, and parts of the deep south. For us, it's a level 1 risk for severe storms. That means 1 or 2 of the cells could produce winds that would be strong enough to cause severe conditions. And that lasts, of course, into the day on Wednesday, mainly during the morning hours. Here's a look at Futurecast at 11 p.m. A few stray showers start to pop up. That continues into, say, 4 or 5, and then another round right around 6, 7, 8 o'clock. So it is going to be a fairly stormy start to the day tomorrow. 60% chance of rain overnight and 30% kind of into the rest of the day on Wednesday. How much rainfall? Probably 1/4 inch, maybe pushing 1/2 inch. Once this moves on out, Friday and Saturday look fantastic. Now, Sunday into Monday, we're looking at the potential for some isolated thunderstorms. We'll continue to watch the timeline for that, but it certainly will be nice to enjoy the lovely temperature temperatures in the 70s.
All right, happening now in the WO Traffic Center, we've got congestion building on many of our major routes, including this crash we're seeing right here on Glenwood and Creedmoor Road. It's in the westbound lane. You can see the congestion that's causing there on westbound Glenwood. And that's Crabtree Valley Mall right there, which is usually a busy intersection. So be mindful of that if you're getting ready to head out, and that's part of your morning commute. Of course, congestion building on many of our routes this morning, including the Beltline, the southern loop of the Beltline, as well as the northern loop of the Beltline. We're seeing it right here on this live camping. And actually, things are beginning to ease up just a little bit. But as we take you outside, this is a crash that just cleared in just a little bit ago. You can see Raleigh police just wrapping things up. But that's a usual morning congestion that we see moving forward. Boy, to the east of Raleigh, I-87, things have really gotten a lot better. You can see traffic flowing nicely in both directions right there.
All right, thank you, Ken. Cell phone ban. A vote tonight will determine phone rules for Wake County classrooms, the exceptions that would be included in the new policy. And a garage fire. Crews worked to extinguish a fire at a home in Zebulon this morning. A look at that scene where we can see the damage.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. We are under a WRAL Weather Alert Day. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner showing us the pretty conditions now. It's later on we're looking towards.
Yeah, it feels great as you're heading out the door. 65 in Wilson, but notice it's breezy here. The whirligigs really spinning around. Our wind's still out of the north, around maybe 5 to 10 miles per hour. Durham, 66, 68 in Fayetteville. We will see increasing clouds later this afternoon, but it's a comfortable start. 65 in Tarboro, 68 in Goldsboro heading out. Of course, you probably don't necessarily even need a jacket. It's a little bit breezier than it was this time yesterday. But as you're coming home, you'll notice more cloud cover. Not likely to see showers and thunderstorms until overnight tonight, starting at around midnight or so. But our best chance will be in the very early morning hours for seeing those severe thunderstorms, and they may be affecting us during the morning commute tomorrow, Ken.
All right, this is what's happening now in the WO Traffic Center. Congestion building on some of our major routes this morning, especially here in I-40 westbound coming in from Garner, Johnston County. Raleigh police working this crash on Glenwood and Creedmoor. That's Crabtree Valley Mall right there. That's usually a busy intersection, and we're seeing some delays there on Glenwood Avenue. So if that's part of your morning commute, just keep in mind you'll be running into a little bit of a delay. Speaking of which, this is the southern loop of the Beltline. This crash just cleared in the last 15 minutes ago. You see Raleigh police just mopping things up. But you can see the bumper-to-bumper traffic there on the southern loop of the Beltline. So keep that in mind as you're about to head out.
Thanks, Ken. Several people are hurt after a chain reaction crash in Johnston County. It happened on Big Pine Road around midnight. Troopers say 2 cars were involved in the first crash, then a 3rd car crashed into them. 2 children are among the people who are hurt. Next on Fox 50, Durham educators will bring their concerns to the school district superintendent today. And up next on Today, catching up with John Krasinski and Natalie Portman on the Fountain of Youth.
New this morning, tomorrow's a WRAL Weather Alert Day. We'll be tracking the strong storms for this time tomorrow. I'll show you when you'll start to notice some changes today.
And breaking news, 2 crashes, several hurt. What troopers say led to the chain reaction. Plus, phones off today. Changes to whether your child can use their cell phone in class goes to a vote. The restrictions Wake County schools may put into place and the possible exception. Plus, game on tonight. The Canes hit the ice for the Eastern Conference Final. The excitement, that's building at the Lenovo Center. Laura Levine is there. She is on the ice for us. We will get to her coming up. Thanks for sticking with us here on Fox 50. I'm Michelle McConaughey. It is a WRAL Weather Alert Day, so we're going to start with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. She has the timeline for when the rain comes to us, Elizabeth.
We'll likely see it in the very early morning hours tomorrow. Could start as early as midnight tonight and then last through the morning commute. It's for almost the entire viewing area. Damaging winds, large hail, and even a tornado threat with the system. Boy, this one has a history of producing a lot of severe storms back to the west. Those storms have weakened a little bit as they're moving across the Mississippi Valley, but are likely to re-energize through the afternoon. well to our west. Once that moves here, it won't be quite as strong, but still severe storms are possible, especially starting after midnight, continuing into the morning commute for tomorrow. Here's a look at Futurecast, and we'll kick things off around 9 o'clock tonight. Notice that by 10 or 11, we're seeing a few isolated cells popping up across the area. There's 4, 5 a.m., and then we get into, say, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. Another round of storms starts to develop and move through. So it'll be a fairly active night for us. In the meantime, today looks beautiful. Take a look at Durham here at the DBAP. The ACC baseball championships are happening. That game starts at 9 o'clock, and they're going to be there for most of the week there at the DBAP. 66 degrees right now. A really nice morning for playing baseball. Temperatures this afternoon will climb into the low 80s, and we'll see, again, some increasing clouds late today. Ken?
8:32, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We want to get to this crash that Raleigh police have been working for the last half hour. So Glenwood and Creedmoor, that's Crabtree Valley Mall right there, usually a busy intersection. You can see the delays it's causing there on Glenwood Avenue. So if that's part of your commute, give yourself some extra time. This has been a troubled spot for the last hour or so down there in Johnston County, Garner area. You can see the delays on Highway 70 in the I-40 interchange. I'll let you know how much of a delay you're looking at coming up in just about a minute or so. Speaking of delays, this crash just cleared on I-40 westbound. You can see Raleigh police just mopping things up. But that's the usual morning congestion that we see on that southern loop of the Beltline. So if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, the northern loop of the Beltline really is your best bet. Look at this, Beltline 440 at New Bern Avenue looking free and clear right now, which is really good news. So let's talk about the delays that you're running into coming into the capital city. You're looking at a 7-minute delay if you're coming in from Nightdale this morning. Here's that delay coming in from Johnston County, Garner. You're looking at a 5-minute delay. Out Finch Wake Forest, you're looking at a 9-minute delay. Really and truly, over in Durham, very little to no delays heading into the capital city, the Bull City, I should say. Nothing that's going to make you late this morning. You're getting ready to head into the car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thanks, Ken. New this morning, several people were hurt in 2 crashes in Johnston County. The WRAL breaking news tracker was at this scene on Big Pine Road around midnight. Several people were taken to the hospital, including 2 children. State Highway Patrol says a driver failed to yield at the intersection with Barber Mill Road, causing the first crash. Then a 3rd car crashed when the driver says they didn't see the first crash on the dark road. Troopers say charges are expected. And more breaking news just after midnight. Zebulon fire crews responded to a garage fire. It happened in a neighborhood on Lacewing Drive, just off of Highway 96. Video from the WRAL breaking news tracker shows a charred workbench inside. Police say no one was hurt. The fire did not spread to nearby homes. We are still working to learn the cause of the fire and the extent of the damage. And covering Wake County, big changes could be coming to schools today. We're talking about new cell phone rules for students. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is at Wake School's headquarters in Cary this morning. And Kelsey, this would require phones to be off most of the time, but there are some exceptions.
Yes, Michelle, we've been following how this policy could impact your students for months now. And today, school leaders will meet here at the school district headquarters to potentially make a decision. The new policy would require all cell phones to be silenced and put away. Smart watches would have to be put on airplane mode. There are not any guidelines in the policy that explain what would happen if a student is found on their phone. Those consequences are left up to the individual schools. Cell phone use in schools is also a conversation happening at the state level. State lawmakers are considering 2 bills that address cell phones in schools, and they have bipartisan support. WRAL education insider Emily Walkenhorst explains exceptions in the Wake Schools policy.
There are a few exceptions to it, like if an emergency came up, or let's say a student has diabetes and maybe they track some of their blood sugar levels using an app on their phone, they would still be able to access that.
We'll be sure to keep you updated on whether they make a final decision in our evening newscast. You can also follow our coverage on WRAL.com. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Cary.
6 Wake County high schools could lose Title I funding under a planned change by the school system being considered today. It would affect East Wake, Knightdale, Phillips, South Garner, Southeast Raleigh, and Score Academy. The district plans to require higher poverty levels for high schools to continue participating. Title I is a federal program that provides additional academic support for schools that serve more lower-income students. Follow updates at the education section of WRAL.com. And covering Durham, tonight, educators in Durham plan to meet with the superintendent. The Durham Association of Educators will meet to discuss proposals to help keep teachers in classrooms and students in schools. Staff, students, and families are invited to attend. The meeting starts at 5:30 at the Staff Development Center in Durham. The countdown is on for tonight's Eastern Conference final game at Lenovo Center. The Canes will take on the Florida Panthers in Game 1 starting at 8 o'clock tonight. And WRAL's Laura Levine is inside Lenovo Center ahead of tonight's big game. Laura, you've been on the ice. You're in the stands now. I see the towels over the chairs. What can we expect for tonight?
The Lenovo Center is prepared and ready to welcome fans inside these stands here. You can see all of the special towels laid out, ready to cheer on the Hurricanes for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final here. So, we have home ice advantage, which is really special. Taking a look at the team practicing yesterday as they returned back home, Carolina Hurricanes reached the Eastern Conference Final of the Stanley Cup playoffs for the second time in 3 seasons. The Hurricanes will face the Florida Panthers, who defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs 6-1 in Game 7 of their second-round series on Sunday. For 7 seasons, Coach Rod Brindamore has preached a game based on paying really close attention to the finer details, and that's really what has set them apart. Hockey star Sebastian Aho tells us now they're up against the best of the best, and they are ready.
To be best, you got to beat the best, and they're defending Cup champs and obviously a really good team, and it's going to be a great challenge for us. But we're ready, we're hungry, and can't wait.
They're ready, they're hungry, and they're going to eat tonight here inside the Lenovo Center. The puck drops at 8 p.m. and then Game 2 of the series will take place on Thursday. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And WRAL is your home for exclusive post-game analysis of the Canes during their playoff run. No one covers the Canes like we do, with coverage from our team of experts, including former Cane Shane Willis. Don't miss Canes' exclusive post-game live tonight at 11:25 on WRAL. A massive fire raced through this home in Garner. Sky 5 captured the magnitude of the destruction. This happened in the Eagle Ridge Golf community yesterday. Smoke spread to nearby homes and spilled over into communities as far away as Cary. Volunteers with the American Red Cross are helping the 3 people who live there. State House lawmakers are expected to start debating the budget today. The proposal includes raises for teachers and state employees this year. They're calling for teachers to get an average 8.7% raise over the next 2 years. That would be weighted toward beginning teachers, who would see a big jump to $48,000 a year if the proposal becomes law. State employees would get at least a 2.5% raise this year. House leaders say they plan to approve their spending plan later this week. Then they have to reach a compromise with the state Senate, which called for smaller raises. Time now is 8:39. Top Towns revealed 5 on your side shows us the triangle spots that just ranked among the best places to live in the country. Plus, water everywhere. What drivers had to face on a flooded highway in Missouri. And we'll take you out. A live look over downtown Raleigh this morning. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has a look at our rain chances for tonight.
Hey Deb, it's Brett Neese coming to you from South Florida, of course a place you know quite well. I would not be in this position and as far along in my career if it wasn't for someone like you. You always had a word of encouragement when I needed it most. I'm so lucky to have worked alongside you, and I wish you nothing but the best.
We first met in June of 1994. It's amazing how time just evaporates. What a gift, what a privilege. Love of my life is my work wife. I just loved working with you. It was amazing.
8:44, some pretty weather for us this morning. This is a live look at Sanford. It's a little bit breezy out there this morning, a little bit more so than yesterday, but our wind is still coming out of the north, so it's keeping things nice and dry for us for the start of the day and cool too. 63 in Roxborough, 68 Fayetteville, at 64 in Garner, and 66 degrees right now in Cary. Hour by hour, our rain chances will come late tonight and early tomorrow morning. As late as, say, midnight or so, we'll start to see some thunderstorms, and then those will probably be strongest during the morning commute, maybe around 4 or 5 a.m. and then all the way through 7 or 8 o'clock. If you're looking to get some yard work done, it's going to be fine really through the day today, but it may be a little bit wet for Wednesday just because of that chance for thunderstorms. And then on Thursday, we may have just a small chance for showers and thunderstorms. Well, jump ahead and take a look at the holiday weekend with a chance of a storm coming up. Ken?
All right, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We want to keep an eye on that situation on Creedmoor and Glenwood. It's usually a busy intersection, but things really beginning to clear up because that's Crabtree Valley Mall right there. It was causing some delays there on Glenwood Avenue, but right now it's clearly in the clearing phase. This is a situation we've been following for the last couple of hours. There's real congestion on I-40 westbound coming in from there by the I-40 Highway 70 interchange this morning. You're looking at maybe a 5 to 7 minute delay. I'll keep an eye on it for you here in the WRAL Traffic Center.
All right, thank you, Ken. Flooding causes dangerous driving conditions in Missouri. Look at this. You can see traffic moving through inches of water, flooding the area of Interstate 35. This is in Kansas City. According to one National Weather Service staffer, almost 8 inches of rain pooled in that roadway.
Israel has allowed 9 aid trucks into Gaza. That was yesterday. There are 100 more on tap to go in today. The UN has demanded that they ramp up and have cleared 100 more aid trucks to get in there. This is as malnutrition rates are rising and could get out of control. Hundreds of people, meantime, have been killed in Gaza as the strikes continue there. Israeli airstrikes, at least 50 Palestinians were killed today. And despite mounting international pressure to stop the military operations and allow that aid into Gaza go unimpeded, these have kept up. The United Nations has gotten that permission from Israel for about 100 more emergency aid trucks to enter, though the first supplies that have entered in weeks, only those 9 trucks yesterday, they still remain under Israeli control right now.
Thank you, Jeff. After a 2-hour phone call with Vladimir Putin, President Trump says Russia and Ukraine will immediately start ceasefire talks. The White House says the details are up to both sides. Putin confirms he's ready to work with Ukraine and back in contact with Ukrainian officials. The new American Pope offered to host peace talks at the Vatican. The president says he's willing to do a big trade with Russia once the war is over. The NTSB has begun its safety investigation into the Mexican Navy ship that struck the Brooklyn Bridge. 2 people died, more than a dozen were hurt in that incident on Saturday. Officials are gathering perishable evidence from the scene and looking at 3 main areas: the crew, the vessel, and the environment. The investigation is likely to take months. During a stop in Raleigh, former Vice President Mike Pence continued to be outspoken against President Trump's tariffs. Pence wants to help educate people about the impact tariffs will have on their wallet if it hasn't already. The former VP was quick to mention he used tariffs as a negotiation tool during Trump's first term, but he clarified broad-based tariffs are hurting Americans. 18 miles of roadways in Granville County will get improvements. A $2.3 million project will focus on secondary roads, including the old NC 75 bridge over Ledge Creek and Providence Road, Lawrence Road from Horseshoe Road to the Wake-Granville County line, among other roads. The work is expected to wrap up by late fall of next year. Are you in one of the best places to live in America? U.S. News and World Report just dropped its new rankings, and 2 towns in the Triangle are shining in the top spot. Top 10, I should say. 5 on your sides. Keely Arthur reveals places that made the list and why they snagged the top spots.
More than 850 towns and cities were considered for this list, so it's pretty impressive that Cary ended up at the 5th spot and Apex at number 7. U.S. News and World Report took things like quality of life, job opportunities, and value and desirability into account in making their ranking. But if you want to live in Carrier Apex, it'll cost you. Both have average housing costs of more than $450,000, far exceeding the $281,000 national average. Plus, the median household income is nearly double the national average. Consumer lending analyst Erica Giovanetti said it was the area's strong job market, especially the high availability of high-paying jobs, that put Cary and Apex in the top 10.
The job market in the Triangle area is just fantastic when it comes to the salary index and low unemployment rates.
Now, interestingly, U.S. News and World Report put out a smaller, most affordable places to live in the nation, and not a single town or city in North Carolina made the top 25 of that list. What do you think about all this? Do you think that these towns and cities are some of the best places to live? Let us know. You can sound off right now on WRAL's Facebook and Instagram pages. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
The Wake County Animal Center will have discounted dog adoptions today. It's in honor of National Rescue Dog Day. Adoption fees for dogs will be reduced to $25 and cats will be name your price. Each adoption includes spay and neuter, vaccinations, and microchipping. And just as a reminder, anyone under the age of 18 is not allowed on the adoption floor at the shelter under a new policy. The change is a result of a dog attacking an 8-year-old girl last week. She's recovering from her injuries. Summer travel ramping up at RDU, where you are looking live this morning. The airport announced 2 new international destinations. RDU will add service to Vancouver through Air Canada starting June 5th, and Canadian airline WestJet will debut service with a nonstop flight to Calgary on June 9th. Both the new routes are seasonal and will run 3 times a week. Very, very cool. Always adding new flights to RDU. I love it. And if you have a trip out of RDU this morning, it's pretty smooth sailing there right now. Sunshine and blue skies. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner giving us a look at the big picture here, though.
Really nice start to the day. We continue to sit basically in the same pattern we saw yesterday, a northerly flow bringing in some comfortable air for us. But just to the west, that front continues to edge eastward toward us. We do have some thunderstorms along the Mississippi Valley right now. And in the last 24 hours, the system has caused a lot of severe weather and is likely to do the same again like this afternoon and this evening. Big level 3 risk here for parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, and the northern part of the deep south there. Overnight tonight, we have the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms starting maybe close to midnight and lasting through the morning commute. A level 1 risk means that isolated severe storms are possible. And in this case, we'd be looking at the chance of some damaging winds, potentially for the entire viewing area. Our best chance of hail would be in our western counties, and our best chance of a tornado would be potentially in the Sandhills. And of course, that's just an estimation of where we could see those things happening. Notice at 10 or 11, we start to see some storms developing, lifting northward. And then here's 5 a.m., maybe a little break there. And then another round of thunderstorms rolls in just in time for the morning commute. So it's likely to be pretty messy. Take that into account as you're making your plans for tomorrow. And make sure that you can get weather alerts overnight, because some of these storms may pop up while you're sleeping. WRAL News app, you can set the alerts there, the weather alert to go off, and then turn on the TV. We'll be tracking it all night. Southern Pines looking pretty quiet, but beautiful. I imagine the golf courses will be fairly busy later on today with this nice weather. 66 is our current temperature, and we'll climb on up into the low 80s this afternoon. Nice and comfortable, a little breezy out there this morning. Temperatures mostly in the mid 60s, 82 for Raleigh, 81 in Durham, and 86 for the high in Fayetteville. So temperatures not too far from normal. If you're hoping to head out and do a little tailgating before the Hurricanes game tonight, it should be just fine. It's likely to be closer to 10 to midnight before we see a lot of storms. You may want your umbrella coming out of the arena, but you shouldn't need it heading in. Tropical forecast is tonight at 6 o'clock. It's the tropical forecast that we put together right here in the WRAL Weather Center. The tropical season starts June 1st, and at 6 o'clock tonight, we'll tell you what we think in terms of the forecast. It's going to be a warm day tomorrow, 87. Most of the storms will be in the morning, but there could be 1 or 2 later in the day. And then it's looking comfortable for the holiday weekend, but could be some storms isolated on Sunday and Monday.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. And before we go to break, here's a look at your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic next.